Hi everybody and welcome to another mediumship clinic live question and answer with me, Martin Twycross. Good to see everybody. I try and run them monthly, health permitting. Some of you may have realized I didn't quite manage monthly. I had a bad bout of shingles and another virus at the end of last year, which kind of took me out of the equation a little bit, but I'm back in good health now. So my plan is to run these classes monthly. My apologies to all those who couldn't get in the January class. There was a lot of technical gremlins in that class, and we had a lot of fun trying to make it work. Eventually we did, but the original link didn't work. So if you tried to get in, you would have had problems. So fingers crossed that you can all get in today into this class. I hope so anyway. If you're in the room, feel free to type in the chat box, say hello, let me know you're there. If you're watching this on the replay, then it's lovely to see you on the replay as well. So as I say, this is a mediumship clinic live question and answer session whereby my intent is to answer whatever questions you guys have. You can feed them into the chat box and I'll go through them one by one. We'll go through them in order, and questions relating to mediumship, your development, questions relating to spiritualism, similar topics. If it's a way out question, I may not be able to answer it. So I will do my best to answer whatever I can. So hi there, Shelley, and good afternoon to you. It's evening for me, but afternoon for you. You must be in the Americas, I'm sure. So I have and welcome Marianne. Lovely to see you. First time here, that's brilliant. Glad you could join us. Strangely, I can't see YouTube Studio's playing up. I can't see how many viewers we've got. I can't see if there's anybody watching at all. It's just the nature of the beast. Things keep changing. It keeps us on our toes. So this week on my Facebook page, I posted a quote, which was quite interesting, and it brought in quite a bit of debate. So the quote was about mediums not causing harm with their words. And my belief is that as mediums, at the very least, we should do no harm. Whatever we do when we're working as a medium, we should aim to heal, to help people, to improve their lives. But at the very least, we should not cause them pain, suffering, or harm. That's for sure. So Phyllis, welcome, and welcome Sophianica. Lovely to see you for another first time. Brilliant. So it got me thinking, and in the comment I posted that not a week goes by when I don't hear about a crazy thing that a medium has done. Whether that's predicting someone's death, whether that's telling somebody they've got cancer, whether that's telling somebody they should leave their husband, whatever it may be, there's not a week goes by when I don't hear of crazy things. And sometimes those crazy things take place in classes as well. Sometimes you go to a class and you're doing a one-on-one with somebody and they tell you crazy things. And they shouldn't be doing it. They absolutely shouldn't be doing it. One thing I have developed and I make available for free is a code of conduct, a mediumship code of conduct. It's only 2 pages, pretty much a list of do's and don'ts to help you understand the responsibilities of mediumship. It is available free of charge on my website. And I've also, before I did the live, I've just put a link into the description of this video if you want to download it as well. So that's available, a free code of conduct, because as mediums, we must work to a high standard. And one of the problems is there's a lot of people who are out there who haven't had much training, or who don't want to go to training, or who don't, and let's face it, how many of you would want a doctor or dentist to work on you with no training? Oh no, I've had a bit of dentistry done on me, so I know how it's done. You just scrape teeth and you get a drill out and you drill a hole and then you fill it full of stuff and you'll be all right. No. And similarly, you wouldn't want a doctor who has no idea what they're doing. Oh, I'll just give you that pill. Maybe that'll work. Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll kill you. Who knows? We wouldn't want it. And for me, I would like all mediums to work to a high standard and to be trained to a good standard. That's always been my aim, my goal with my own teachings, is to try and bring that quality training in to help people. And for me, I see 2 things. I see people who just don't understand, haven't had the training, haven't had the exposure on thinking about the power that our words have. Because if you're doing a sitting or you're working on a platform, your words carry weight. They carry power. People see you as in a position of authority as a medium, as a position of responsibility. And what we say carries weight. What we say can impact lives. What we say can do enormous healing or enormous harm. We have to be careful that we are conscious of what we say when we work as a medium. Now, when you're doing mediumship, absolutely, you're in a slightly altered state. But you can't say, oh, I just work and I don't care what comes out of my mouth. No, there's a part of your mind that has to follow. There's a part of your mind that has to look for what comes from your mouth. And you have to be honest as well. The other problem I see is we have the people who don't really listen to what they're saying or understand what they're saying or realize the dangers of what they're saying. The other problem I have is people who are not well trained, who don't really understand their gift, who don't really understand the difference between the psychic and the mediumistic. Now, I do have a video on the channel called What's the Difference Between a Psychic and a Medium. I also have another video on the channel about predicting the future, because invariably we see predictions coming in. If I'm working with somebody and they have things within their energy field, they're there to grab. Someone comes to me and they're worried about their husband. They're worried their husband's having an affair. I pick up, oh, there's concerns around your husband. Yes. And I see that he's having an affair. Wrong. The sitter in front of you has concerns that they may be having an affair. A bad medium would just go, husband affair, they're having an affair. A good medium would go, okay, I'm seeing husband. I'm seeing concerns around you about an affair. But as I link into your energy, I know there's been a lot of past hurts from relationships. I know that there's a lot of trust issues, and that's what I feel is manifesting within the relationship. Is the husband having an affair? No. Any medium who forces him to have an affair, whether working psychically or mediumistically as a psychic or a medium, wrong. So the point being is the information can be there, but through inexperience, you can do things wrong with it. You can put A and B and make D rather than C. You're not given the right answer. But I'm always very wary when people come to me with questions like that. You know, my mum's got cancer. Is she going to die? I feel my husband's having an affair. What do you think? I don't like that. And I'll explain why it's problematic, because all that information is in their energy field. And whatever I say, even as an experienced medium, it's very hard for me to determine what's coming from where. And also, I can never categorically state that is the case. Spirit will very rarely give you the future. And spirit will never tell anyone when they're going to die. That's my worst one. You know, you or someone you know or some relative of yours will die soon. No, don't go there. Don't go there. You can't do it. Only people who know who's going to go is spirit, the divine God. Call them what you will. Call it what you will. That the universe, what the source. The overarching intelligence knows. The spirit world may have a bit of insight into what's around the corner, but they won't tell you because it doesn't help you. It doesn't help you to know somebody is going to pass. But equally, you can tune in psychically and pick up that there are problems almost insurmountable, and you may get that. And we have to be very careful about this, because I say that what we say can really hurt people. A couple of other real world examples. Your loved one, your mum's passed a spirit. I see she's in no man's land. She's stuck, she's trapped. She never made it to the spirit world. Pray for her. She needs all your help. I've seen a medium on platform do that, which I was absolutely horrified by. Absolutely horrified by. But the best thing was the person in the audience countered by saying, well, she came through last week and there wasn't a problem. And I thought, yes, brilliant. How fabulous was that? But what is the medium playing at? There's no such thing as being trapped in no man's land. I have a video on the channel, Lost Souls, Earthbound Spirits, are there any such things? Do check it out. And for me, everybody makes it to the spirit world. Everybody is met in love, either by somebody they know, friend, family, or by somebody from the spirit world designated to meet new arrivals. Nobody ever gets stuck. Another case I heard of which shocked me immensely was of a lady who'd lost her daughter, who went to a medium, and the medium said, your daughter's coming through, she's crying, she's stuck, she's in the spirit world, she doesn't like it, she's suffering, she's in pain, and she's crying and she wants help. Who does that help? Who does it help? Nobody. The person here will be distraught, will be upset. and may even want to go and try and join their daughter in the spirit world to help them. Truth is, nobody in the spirit world is suffering, trapped in pain in that way. They are helped. The spirit world is a world of love, a world of healing where people will be helped. So we need to recognize that. So these are just some examples of crazy things. Another crazy thing I hate is someone will tell you, a medium will tell you, you will never go on to do X, Y, or Z. You know, whether that's you won't pass your degree, whether that's you won't go on to do this, whether that's you'll never become a medium. I was once told that I should never give up my day job because I will never be a medium. A well-known medium once told me that, and I disagree. I ignored their advice. I threw it out the window, and thank God I became a medium. And I'd like to hope a reasonable medium at that. So anyone who tells you that, again, it speaks about them. It speaks about their own nature, their own spiritual development. It does not apply. No one can tell anybody they can't do anything. As a teacher, I've looked at people and I've thought, you know, I'm not sure that person really has the gift to get anywhere. That person doesn't really have the ability. Maybe, you know, the thought goes through your mind, maybe they're wasting their time. Maybe it'll never work. Then 10 years later, they're a working medium. 10 years later, it's all come good. They've shown up, they've turned up, they've kept at it, and it all came good. So no tutor, no teacher, no medium, no psychic can ever tell you, A, you don't have the potential, and B, you can never achieve it. Because sometimes those potentials are below the surface rather than at the near surface. And whatever we commit to, we can develop. Whatever we put our time and effort into, we can move forward, we can progress. One of the spiritualist principles, eternal progression open to every human soul. We can't write anybody up and say you can't do it. If they want to progress and that's their soul's desire, they can, absolutely. So hi Hiker, hi Scott, hi Kino, good to see you all. So let's see what questions and comments we got. Scott, I was told by work and medium my loved one was tarred and feathered in spirit, very upsetting, and of course, utter rubbish. Absolutely. There's no such thing. I'm sorry. You know, and what really angers me is I would love all those mediums to be called out over what they're saying. The problem is the people who say that generally wouldn't be interested if you try to call them out about it anyway. But think about it. You know, it's like, it's good to challenge it all. Who says there's such a thing in the spirit world? There's not. It's not a physical world. So that's rubbish. Secondly, the sitter here, that causes immense pain and suffering. Now, any medium who causes pain and suffering, there will be a price to pay. Whether you call it karma, whether you call it cause and effect, whether you call it you sow what you reap, ultimately, whatever we do, if we cause harm, if we cause pain, if we cause suffering, there's a price to pay. As a medium, you're not above it. Just because you think you may be spiritually developed, you're not. And if you're causing pain and suffering in your work, I'm sorry to say you are not spiritually developed. That's the thing to understand. So instantly, if somebody says that, they're causing pain, that person will walk away. They may think about that for the next 20, 30 years. Thank God you understand it's utter tripe, utter BS, utter rubbish. And remember that my channel, I bring you down to earth teachings on mediumship without the fluff, without the BS. It is absolutely utter crap. And, you know, I just don't understand how some mediums have that idea. You know, they don't understand the spirit world. They've not read around. They've not had enough training to say that. Shelley, I agree. So glad I took your course. So many are just after money and fame. And that's the other thing we have to look at is the reasons for doing mediumship. Are they the right reasons? Are they the wrong reasons? Are people doing it because they want control over people, because it makes them powerful, because it's about their ego, because they need their ego massaged, because they want to be famous, because they want people to revere them? Or are people doing it for the spirit world, to allow spirit to come through, to do what they want to do? You know, the right reasons for doing mediumship is service, love and compassion, giving back. I have a class on my channel that I taught, and I thought it was going to be kept behind closed doors for just a few people. And I really thought that wouldn't be fair. So I recorded the class and put it out there for everybody. It's called Mediums Ambassadors for Spirit. And it talks about mediums from the point of view of spirit communicators. So we view that we are bringing spirit through to people here. When we look at it from the point of view of the person in the spirit world, what they want to reach their loved one. They need this middleman. What do they require from the middleman? And they require a lot. And that's what the whole video is about. I think it lasts for about 45 minutes or an hour. It's well worth watching. Several people have told me it was one of the most amazing classes they've seen. But it just by changing this perspective, it helps put a lot more emphasis into what truly matters. Spirit aren't looking for someone who's into fame and fortune. They aren't looking into someone who's going to do the work for themselves, not for the spirit world. It's important to recognize that. Sophianica at Right On, have seen so many with no tact filter. Absolutely. Whatever I say, I have to have a tact filter in between. I'm working in the audience, I'm working with somebody, I'm aware there's health issues with them, and I know. As soon as I touch their energy, I know they've got cancer. I'm in an audience. I'm not going to tell that audience this person has cancer. I'm going to actually say something along the lines of either you or someone close to you is going through a lot of health challenges at the moment. There's a lot of appointments. There's a lot of treatment. And it doesn't say them. I know it's them, but I don't say them. I say you or someone close to you. So that's the key. I don't want everybody else in the audience to know people's business. I'm having to apply the tact filter. Whatever we see in this from the spirit world, whatever image they give us the image for us to understand, not always to give. So some mediums say, oh, you give what you get. And, oh, I'm seeing a man here. He's hanging from a rope. He's hung himself. He's dead. Whoa, the energy of that. You can't come out with that. No, I'm seeing a man here. I'm aware this man passes tragically. I feel he takes his own life. And that's about as much as I need to give. I don't need to give any more than that. And even that, I may introduce it even more slowly. And we have to think about the impact of our words and any pain and suffering it may cause the sitter. Oh, I've got a man here and I can see this man's really not looking after himself and I can smell him. Oh, he smells terrible. Oh, honestly, I tell you what he smells of and you don't want to go there. And I see mediums do it from platform. And it's like you're disrespecting this person from the spirit world. Yes, they were not able to look after themselves. Yes, they lost their dignity. But they don't want you to tell the world. And the person whose loved one it is will not thank you for it. No. I'm aware of this man here. I know that towards the end, he wasn't always able to look after himself as much as he would like. Yes. I know you tried to help him. Yes. But I know it was a challenge for him. Yes. It's enough. It's got tact. It's got the tact filter. So tact filter absolutely is critical. Kino, important difference about differentiating between psychic feedback and mediumship. See this nuance coming up a lot. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's probably a question I get asked the most common. How do you know whether it's mediumship from spirit or how do you know whether it's psychic from the person's energy? And I have a whole YouTube video on it. What's the difference between, or is it psychic or is it spirit? I think that's what the video is called. But do check it out. And I go through how it's, a lot of it is where our focus is. Is your focus with the spirit world, in which case generally it's from spirit? Are you pushing into the energy of the sitter? In which case it's often psychic. If you don't know, then you need to understand. Or you need to be honest that you're not sure where you're getting it from. Generally, psychic has a different feel and flow to mediumistic. But if the flows aren't too different, it can be hard to separate them. So in that video, I talk about looking for changes in the way you're receiving information, in how you get it, in how it flows. So they give you clues as to how your mediumship works. Some people, it flows much more easily on the mediumship and less on the psychic. Others, they're brilliant psychics. It flows brilliantly on the psychic, but it's harder on the mediumship. So there's no one size fits all. There's no me saying, well, if it's coming quickly, it's from spirit. No, you've got to understand for yourself. You've got to understand the differences, but understand what to look for to see those differences, to work out where it's coming from. And at times, even I won't know where I've got it. So I'll be honest, I'm not sure where I'm getting this, whether this is from spirit or from your energy. We've got to be honest. I can't put words into the mouth of spirit that they don't say. It's just not fair, is it? We have to think about what we're doing. Absolutely. Lauren, how do you strengthen the link if they feel far away? This is, again, this is probably one of the most common questions we get asked, and it's not an easy answer. I wish I could just give you an easy answer, but I can't. There's so many aspects to it. It's like, how far developed are you along the path of development? Do you understand how to connect to spirit? Do you understand how to make that link? Do you understand it's an active process? You get energized, you get in, you get connected. A lot of people don't get active or energized when they connect to spirit. And it's like spirit is a long way away because you haven't gone to them. With spirit, we got to go to them. They don't come to us. We go to them. We've got to move our mind to the spirit world. If we don't move our mind to the spirit world, it's like pulling teeth. And they are a long way away because we haven't moved to them. That's the first point. The second point is we have to unfold the potentials within us. Are you sitting for spirit? Are you sitting in the power regularly? Are you doing it right? Because many people do not do it right. There are a whole series on my channel. There's a sitting in the power video, and there's a series of 4 videos on sitting in the power. Why do it? How to do it? Common problems for beginners, common problems for more advanced. And then there's a longer one on sitting for spirit, on sitting in the power, and how important that is to mediumship, which covers a lot of this as well. So check out all those videos. There's a ton of it if you don't know what sitting in the power is. But if we're not sitting to create that blend with spirit, it's going to be hard. So when you're sitting in the power, the idea is, first of all, you sit and blend with your own soul. Then you sit and move your own soul to the spirit world, and you're blended with spirit. You're training yourself to be blended with spirit. So it's a brilliant practice because you're blending with spirit. Then it depends how long you can link with spirit, how much power you have. If you've not got enough power, you won't stay connected for long. So there's another class on my channel, Mediumship Class 2 snippet, one of the very earliest videos. What is power? Power is fuel for mediumship. Not enough power, you'll fall out the connection. It will feel like spirit just drift away from you. So we need to build that power. We build it through sitting in the power, and we build it through doing mediumship, exercising our mediumship muscle, if you like. That's what we do to build the power. So then, not every communicator is a good communicator. Some communicators are brilliant and they blend closely and it flows, and others, it's like getting blood out of a stone. And we've got to pull them close to us, and we've got to get the information from them. So again, that takes experience. So there's probably a lot of aspects in there that we need to think about. The other key focus is, if you're not talking, you lose the link. The more when you see a medium on platform, they very rarely have long periods of silence. A bit like me tonight, trying to get through all these questions. I talk relatively quickly. You won't have long periods of silence because you'll all go out of the room. It's the same thing. When we're doing mediumship, we have to keep talking to keep the flow going. I see people who don't do that, and it's like it falls flat. So I've got a video, how to practice mediumship, and within that, I talk about some of these tips as well. So check that one out as well. Okay. Dice Man, what can subconsciously block us from receiving and communicating with spirit? Anything that causes you stress, any forms of stress, mental, emotional, physical. If your health is not good, it can create a barrier. It's not conscious, but it does. If you've got a lot of stress, emotional, mental going on, that can block it. If there's someone in the room who's causing you stress, that can block it. Can somebody else block it? Only in so much as you let them. You and your thoughts, your own self-talk. Oh, it's not working. Oh, I knew this would happen. Oh, it's all going wrong. It just collapses. You worrying that I'm not a medium. No, I'm an imposter. The imposter syndrome. All of those factors, the confidence side of things. We say fake it till you make it, positive self-talk, positive visualization. I have a whole course. Let me just pop up the courses. I haven't shown you those yet. But there's another one as well as these 8. There's another one that's called Understanding Guides and Helpers, my most recent course, which goes into building that relationship with your guides and helpers. But basically, within these courses, there's one called the Confident Medium, and the Confident Medium course, that one is the one where I go through confidence. If you find that you're lacking confidence with mediumship, That's the one that will help. I use my training as a hypnotherapist and knowledge of NLP and bring that one in there to help you. So that's interesting if that's an issue for you. Let's come back out of that. So yeah, so there's quite a lot of things that can subconsciously block us from receiving and communicating with spirit, but they're all from us. Spirit do not block us. Spirit wants us to succeed as mediums. Spirit wants us to do the work for them. They need good mediums. They can't block us. Everything that blocks us is of our own creation. Other people can't send negative energy to block you. Yeah, they can create an energy, but we can choose to allow that energy to block us if we will. But you can rise above it. You can learn to work through it. Absolutely. Inexperienced, yeah, it might affect you. If someone shouts something out from the audience that's not very nice, not quite rude yet, that will impact people's energy. If a sitter is particularly skeptical and negative and keeps saying, oh no, this is all generic, this is all rubbish, yeah, that's going to affect your energy. Yeah, a good medium can push through that with experience, but a less experienced medium, it's gonna collapse the whole thing. But what collapses it is us, not other people. Does that make sense? I'm allowing myself to be affected by it to collapse it, if it collapses it. That's what I'm trying to say. I hope that all that makes sense. Sophie Annika. I love that there is a place for healthy skepticism in your teaching. Just purchase your module 1 and have lots of questions. We'll place a few. Feel free to ask as many as you like here. That's the whole purpose of these classes that I do, is that it's support for those who want to buy my study program, which is a modular format. It's 3 modules. It's a core program. And each module is 5 classes and 5 tutorials that go with it, working with the material, asking questions on the material. And I also offer a number of pre-recorded courses, as I just pulled up on the screen. There's 9 of those as well. And the whole point of this live Q&A is that if you have any questions on it, you can bring it along. If you're doing the courses, if you're doing my study program and you've got questions and you can't make the class, shoot them to me. And if I can, I'll bring them in the class as well. So that's the point. This class is a support mechanism for my courses and classes. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And absolutely. I believe that we cannot just take everything as read. I call myself a healthy skeptic when it comes to mediumship. If you're going to tell me something, you have to demonstrate the reality to me. If you're telling me you're linking with my loved one, I need some evidence. If you're telling me that this is what it is, I'm going to need some evidence for it. I won't take it at face value. I've got a scientific background, so because of that, it means that when I first came to spiritualism and mediumship, I came with a very skeptical mindset. And I still retain some of that, even though I work as a medium, even though I teach mediumship. I still within me have that degree of skepticism that I do like to challenge and test the spirit world. And that's what they want too. They don't want us taking everything as read. They want us to think about it. And if it doesn't match logic and reason, they want us to say, hang on a minute, no. Getting tarred and feathered in the spirit world absolutely does not match logic and reason for me. Someone getting trapped in no man's land, again, that insults my intelligence. So I have problems with it, for sure. Okay, next questions. Oh, complicated one here. Dice Man, from your interactions with spirit, can you please advise on how relationships are defined in the spirit world? I.e., are there still couples? How does that work with the concept of no preference? So it's a difficult one. Obviously, I'm not in the spirit world yet. Most people who are a couple together, who got on well together in this world, who may have been married for 30 years and got on well together, they're still together in the spirit world. They can still choose to be together. But of course, we have choice. If you had a relationship that wasn't so good, you can choose not to be together. It's the choice on both parties to be together, to continue that relationship. Although the relationship by definition will change in the spirit world as well, because you're in a different environment and you're in an environment with a lot more opportunity and a lot more variety. But certainly there'll be people who you have in your life who you want to maintain that close relationship with. If you feel like you're soulmates, absolutely. They're going to be a part of your life. But remember, if you're eternal, you live for eternity. There's room for a lot of close relationships. And for someone who was close to two people, yes, they can be, you know, we're not confined by earthly time, which is linear, and we're not confined by earthly place. So we can be in two places at once. And if you like, we can be having simultaneous experiences. We can be simultaneously with two people at once, which it'd be interesting, won't it? So you're not necessarily confined by some of our earthly ideas. So it's pretty hard for me to say how it is, but generally, spirit present from the spirit world that, mum comes back and dad's here with me and we're close together. And when you go to the spirit world, that's what you'd expect as well. Now, if mum and dad didn't get on and really couldn't stand each other, and it was a marriage of convenience and they couldn't afford to divorce, or they just never got round to it, then don't be surprised if in the spirit world that they've moved on. They're progressing, they're moving in different directions, but they still have that affinity and love for you. It just maybe not be that they're together. So that's from what we've seen as mediums, I would say. So Fionica, do you think it's more difficult for highly artistic, creative people to refine their psychic skills? Sometimes very hard to tell when I'm making it up. Not necessarily, no. I'd say that if you're creative and artistic, mediumship and psychic work should be easier for you, because mediumship functions through the subconscious mind, the creative mind, the artistic mind. So that is where mediumship functions from. You will often hear some mediums say to people in the early stages, just make it up. How do I know it's me or my imagination is a very common question. And in fact, I should do a video of that for my channel. I think it's probably overdue. I'm going to make a note for myself. Me or my imagination, because that's an interesting one. But basically, mediumship works through your imagination. But what we need to learn to do is to quieten our mind. And in quieting our mind, in quieting our own imagination, what we get within our imagination is what's projected there from the spirit world. So we need to be able, first of all, to do mediumship. You've got to move away from your left brain, conscious brain, logical brain, the brain I'm using to process these questions now. We've got to move away to the right brain, the artistic brain, the creative brain, the synergistic brain. It's that through which we link to do psychic and mediumistic work. So if you're quite artistic and creative already, you're already used to tapping that part. It's said that men are more left-brained, women more right-brained, and that's one of the reasons why it's a little bit harder for a lot of men to do mediumship, unless they're in touch with their feminine side, because the right brain is the feminine brain. So I don't think that's a problem, but what we have to learn to do is to learn to quieten it. We have to learn to train the mind so that when we are receiving information through the subconscious, we know when it's our own mind making it up versus we know when it's not. And in the early stages, that can be a bit hard. What happens is people receive information and then their own creative mind adds a bit extra in. They put a bit more on. And that's why you need a good teacher to help you with that, to say, well, until that point there, yeah, all of that was good. That's right. That last bit, that was you. You added those bits on. Your creative mind started adding bits on. You extrapolated it. You took it and added more. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. So if you're enjoying it so far, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like what I do. I will be adding a few more videos to the channel this year that aren't live question answers. At the moment, I'm doing mainly the Mediumship Clinic Q&A, but I will be adding some more videos to the channel as well this year. There are a couple recorded that I need to finalize and edit and sort out and make into a format that's good. So hopefully there'll be a few more going up this year. That is my plan. And as I say, any ideas that you would like me to do a short video on the channel for, like, is it me or my imagination, that kind of thing, let me know and I'll see what we can do. So yeah, if you're enjoying what I'm doing, you can always support the channel. You can check out my courses, my products in my store. You can, if you're in the room now, you can use Super Chat if you would like to make a donation to support the channel. There's also a PayPal link as well that's in the description and also pinned to the top of the comments. If you can use PayPal me if you would like to support me as well and buy me a coffee. it's greatly appreciated. I do these classes for free, but if you want to show your appreciation, it's always very much appreciated. Okay, Dice Man, how do you visualize the quantum field and energy? Now, this one is a really, really difficult one. And the simple answer is I'm not sure. And, what is the universe and the world really like? Is what we're seeing an illusion? Is it like string theory? Everything's folded in on itself and there's so much there, and there's just so many different aspects that I feel this question is quite a hard one to answer. So I'm going to have a think about that one and leave it for another day. So sorry about that. But do we need to understand the quantum field and energy to do mediumship? Simple answer is no. And sometimes I think if we don't need something, then sometimes to try and bring it in makes it overly complex. I studied physics at university. I understand quite a bit about quantum mechanics. But again, there are so many different theories, so many different aspects, so much different understanding that you've got to go with what feels right to you. That's the key. And a lot of ideas I can say, yeah, I can understand the validity of that. I can understand the pros and cons of it. But in the end, I've just decided it's easier for me not to try and have any fixed ideas and just be open to everything. So that's my answer to that question. And thank you very, very much for a helpful answer. You're very welcome. Kina, I understand the importance of doing your homework in terms of sitting the power, etc. At what point do you recommend for transitioning from building personal power and attunement to group practice? I recommend you do the two in parallel. You don't sit to build power and then wait X number of years. For me, start doing them both. You need to start working with your psychic senses. You need to start working with your awareness. The only way you're going to do that is with practice. A lot of what I offer on my channel is I have, on my website, I've got a whole bunch of videos. I've got a whole bunch of courses. I have a study program, and all of it is theoretical in its basis. But what I do say is, as well as following that, go and get practice, go and get experience, seek out good teachers and get some practice. Because, having the theory is no good if you're not putting it into practice. The two go together hand in hand. But we should never forget self-development. Self-development is work on self, work on spiritualizing ourselves. Self-development is sitting in the power, it's making ourselves accessible to spirit. It's all those aspects. It's becoming a better human being, spiritualizing yourself. One of my courses is spiritual self-development, which is about allowing the soul aspect, the spiritual aspect of self to play a greater role within our lives to make us better human beings. The more spiritual you are, the easier it becomes to do this work. The more material you are, the more egotistical you are, the further away it will make it for you to do this work. It gets harder. So spiritualizing ourselves, absolutely vital. But yeah, the way I was trained was we started doing circles straight away. And for many people, you start doing a circle with no theory whatsoever. Just make a link. Well, how the heck do I make a link? I've got no idea what that even means. And people struggle to do it. So I think you have to have some theory and some practice going together. So when people talk about linking to the spirit world, you know what it feels like to link. Even if you've not got the power to sustain it for more than a couple of minutes, at least you're able to get something. But also we need to work psychically. You need to start working psychically. And then, because it's the same skills that we use when we're working psychically, we're using to work mediumistically. We're using the same psychic senses. We're using the same psychic awareness. So the mechanism through which it functions, the senses through which it functions are used in both psychic and mediumistic work. So we need to start working. In the UK, we usually start people in what's called an awareness circle, where we give you a lovely meditation and we do a lot of psychic exercises and we do a little bit of mediumship, but it's mainly psychic. It's to develop and open your sensitivity. It's to develop your awareness. It's for you to learn to use your psychic senses, for you to learn to use your awareness, your intuition, for you to work with all of that, for you to push out and get information back. So I do have a video, one of my videos of the series of 24. special topic 4 is all about psychic development. Also, there's other aspects as well. They're working with psychometry, working with color. Special topics 10 and 11, they're there as well. They would be quite useful. And working with spirit inspiration, it's all along the same theme. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Okay. Next question. What is the relationship between us as a fragment of the soul incarnated and our higher self? Are we our higher self, or just a teeny splinter that is absorbed again upon death? So as a soul, so there's two theories here. There's the oversoul theory and the fragmented soul theory. They're effectively the same. Fragmented soul theory means that a fragment of the soul has an earthly life, but then goes back to the greater soul to take the learning, the knowledge, and consolidate it there. The oversoul theory is that you're part of an oversoul or a group soul, and as a soul you come out, you have your experience, then you return to the greater soul, the oversoul, and you pool experience and knowledge. They're both effectively similar. But I believe that the bit that is you, that is unique now, the bit that is me, Martin, that fragment will always be unique. That fragment will always have its separateness from my greater soul, my oversoul, call it what you will. So I have access to all the knowledge of my greater soul. But the bit that is me right now, that's having this earthly experience, that has this earthly knowledge, that has these earthly relationships, is retained as an individual. Your loved ones don't come back from the spirit world as somebody with 100 lives. They come back as the splinter, the fragment that they were, that you knew them as. So that's how they come back. So I think it's important to recognize this. It's for those of you not familiar with this concept, it's not an easy thing to understand. I get that. But basically, I don't believe in a treadmill, a hamster wheel of reincarnation. I believe that we have experiences. It's like, I believe that we're all part of God, and we're a fragment of God as well, where each one of us has an aspect of that divine within us. Then we're a part of a group of souls at a similar level of knowledge, vibration, energy, and we can access that knowledge. Maybe some of those souls may be your guides to choose to work with you, because we have that affinity, we have that connection. And then if you like, there's a more individualized soul that is an aspect of who you are, and you are expressing part of that soul in this earthly life. You're like the iceberg theory. The bit above the water is you in this earthly life, but there's a greater amount below the water which you have access to. Those greater depths, you can go into those greater depths and bring forward its knowledge, its wisdom. The soul that you are, you're not separate from it. It's the point I'm trying to make here is that when we talk about fragmentation, it talks about being separate. It's like a drop of water in the ocean. Each molecule of water is a separate individual molecule. But when you look at the ocean, it's a whole. It's the same with the fragment. You are still part of a greater whole. So you still have access to that greater whole. When we tap into our soul, we have access to the knowledge of the soul, even though we may just be the bit above the water. So I don't know if that helps you or not. I hope it does. But yeah, it's not an easy concept, that one, for many people to understand, and I get that. Okay. Sophianica, yes, thank you. Imagination comes quite easy on many levels, a bit challenging to discipline. Discipline is the key, absolutely. Many people who are used to moving into that imagination mind, that creative mind, that daydreaming mind, we're used just to, oh, this is boring, I'm going to go there, it's fun. And what we have to learn is the discipline of doing what we have to do and of training the process. Absolutely. So discipline is key. Discipline is key. Phyllis, can you explain the difference between the soul and the spirit? Now, the problem you have here with things like that is that a lot of different people have a lot of different definitions. If you're going to explain the difference, you have to define them. So the way I define it is that you have two spirit things, to be honest. So first of all, we can talk about a spirit person. I'm linking with the spirit. I'm linking with a spirit person. That is the personality, the spirit personality. That is your loved ones in the spirit world. Whoever they are in the spirit world, they're a spirit person. So people will often use the word spirit to refer to them. Each one of us is a soul. We are a soul that is eternal. We are without beginning or end. We cannot be destroyed. So each one of us, when we pass, we continue on as a soul. So we are soul. And the soul is what has the individual characteristics. So the soul effectively matches the spirit person as well. But obviously in the spirit world. In this world, you are the soul. You are the individual characteristics being expressed, confined into a physical body and expressed in this world. So it's only a fragment of you that can really truly express because of this physical world. But each one of us has a spirit. We are part of the divine. We are part of the universal consciousness, source. Each one of us has an aspect of source at our core. And that's what I personally refer to as your spirit. Your spirit is that part of you that is of the divine. That is that part of you that cannot be extinguished. It's the part of you that gives you life. And your soul is the overcoat for your spirit. Each one of us is a spark of divinity. The soul is how we express that. The soul is the personal characteristics that express that. That's my definition between soul and spirit. But the soul, many people equally take to mean, when we're talking about people in the spirit world, the spirit person. So if we park that spirit person to one side and talk about purely soul and spirit, for me, the soul is the aspect of divinity, the life force, the creative energy within all of us that connects us to the divine, that connects us to each other. But our soul is the overcoat around it through which we are eternal and through which we progress as a soul in spiritual development. And in this world, the physical body is the containment, the vehicle for the soul to express itself upon this earthly journey. So I hope, Phyllis, that helps explain it for you. I sincerely hope so anyway. So that's my best answer I can give. So if you are enjoying this so far, remember, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you like what I do, so you can support the channel by checking out my courses, classes, study program in the store. And if you want to donate, make a donation, you can use Super Chat. You can also use PayPal me. There's a link at the top of the chat box. If you're watching this on the replay, there'll be a link as well in the description if you want to say thanks. And there's also super thanks now on YouTube, which I often forget about. If you want to do that as well, that's all gratefully received. I do these classes for free. I do them because there's a need for them. But again, if you want to buy me a coffee, it's very greatly appreciated. Stu, hi, hello Martin. I discovered your channel a couple of weeks ago. Your content is very good. I previously worked as a tarot reader and psychic reader. How would one know mediumship is right for them? Quite simply, if you want to do mediumship, you've got to feel drawn to it. If you want to do mediumship, there has to be an interest in it. It's like anything in life. All of us have a limited amount of time, and we can only do that which we choose to spend our time and energy on. So we need to make a decision. I would love to do 1,000,001 things. It's not going to happen. So we each make a choice as to what interests us, where we want to put our time, where we'd like to see results. And can anybody develop mediumship? Yes, to some degree. We're all capable of becoming mediums to some degree. And, there's videos on my channel as well on how to develop, where I talk about, there's one called Can Anyone Be a Medium, where I talk about this. And the absolute answer is yes, but how far you get will depend upon the potentials within you, both at the surface and deeper within. So not everybody has the ability to go on to become a professional medium. Not everybody has the ability to be an outstanding world-class medium. Absolutely not. But we all have the potential to get to a certain standard. Just like anybody could learn music to a certain standard. But some will be virtuosos. Some will be amazing. Some can go on to, tour the world. Others may just be able to be in a local environment where they're with other people just having a bit of fun. And others may just be able to do it practicing themselves much slower than everybody else, but enjoying it in their own way. So the key is enjoying it. The key is doing it because you enjoy it. So I would say try it. Try to develop it. Go to a few classes. Seek to do it. If you work as a psychic and you work doing tarot, you're already using the skills of psychic senses, intuition, etc. All you're having to do is to learn to go to the spirit world. You need to be trained to then move away from the psychic and the energy of this world and move to the spirit world. And a lot of people don't teach that. I teach that within my videos, my study program. It's part of the fundamentals of mediumship course I offer. The difference between working using our psychic ability versus moving to the spirit world, making that connection to spirit is key. I see a lot of people don't do that. Similarly, a lot of healers think, oh, I'll go and do mediumship. And they work very passively. They work with the same energy they're trying to do healing. Or if you're a trance medium, same again, try and bring that trance energy. Doesn't work. You've got to get excited. You've got to get energized. Got to get empowered. Got to make the link, the connection. You've got to sustain the connection. That's the key. And that's all, as I say, I cover that a great deal in module 1 of my study program. Or if you're interested in just purchasing videos, which are a bit cheaper, then pretty much classes 1 to 6 cover the basics. Or if you're interested in the courses, Fundamentals of Mediumship covers it. Getting better evidence deepens it. That's the important part. Always deepening the evidence. So I hope that answers the question. Dice Man, thank you. I asked a question as my twin flame. My twin passed in late 2019, is now my main spirit guide. I've also been getting to know him as my loved one in spirit, but also beyond. Yeah, sorry to hear that, but yeah, I understand your interest, absolutely. Rose, how can we deal with fear when experiencing mediumship? Very easy answer. Feel the fear and do it anyway. It's natural to have fear. Now, I talked about earlier on about the Confident Medium course, and the Confident Medium, confidence is many different things, but one of them is overcoming fear. Absolutely. So if that interests you, I go into it in a great deal of detail then. But it's recognizing that we can train ourselves to go beyond fear. I worked as a hypnotherapist for many years, and working with a great deal of phobias. Fear is a natural thing. When it becomes a phobia, it's unnatural. It's gone too far. So it's natural that we all have fears. Now, some of us are more prone to be fearful than others. And that's what I talk about in the Confident Medium course and give some strategies for that. And what we need to do is use powerful tools like visualization, self-talk, imagery, all of those things to train ourselves to move beyond. But embrace fear. Fear, false evidence appearing real. It's not what we see it to be. And I often reframe fear as the excitement of our soul. When you're fearful about doing something, the feeling of fear is almost matches the feeling you get within your gut of excitement. So when I'm feeling fearful, I just say, it's just the excitement of my soul. That's what it is. When it comes to this spiritual work, that's what I'm saying. So hopefully that can help you in some ways. So Fionica, thank you very much for your super chat donation. It is very much appreciated, and that will certainly buy a coffee. So with this, if you want to make a donation through super chat, what I will do as well is I will answer your question next. I work through the questions one at a time, but if you're in a hurry and you want to get your questions answered, you can always make a super chat donation and I'll move to it next. So your question was, wondering if you could comment on patterns of development in balance, change, and declares over time. Heard you mention this can happen, and that resonates with me as I think back on experience. So first thing to point out is everybody is unique and different. And within NLP, there is a theory that we will have representational systems, modalities, that we have a dominant representational system. For some people, that dominant representational system is visual. Other people, it can be auditory. And for other people, it can be sensing. So each one of us will have a natural dominant representational system or modality in NLP theory. So if you're primarily visual, in my experience, you'll start a great deal with clairvoyance. And if you're primarily auditory, you'll work with clairaudience, but it won't be real clairaudience necessarily. It can be your mind converting things into words. And if you're predominantly working with sensing, you work a great deal with clairsentience. You will feel emotions. You'll get emotions. You'll be able to work a lot with feelings within the body. So it's important to recognize that we often come from a different place. There's no one size fits all pattern I can talk about. But the most common pattern that I see is predominantly visual, followed by visual with a bit of clairsentience. So first of all, starting with clairvoyance, then a bit of clairvoyance, a bit of clairsentience, sensing and feeling, moving on to more of a clair-knowing, and finally clairaudience if you get clairaudience. I don't really get a great deal of clairaudience personally, never have. So that's my pattern, worked for me. I see it with many, many people. But the clairs are always changing. Our mediumship is always changing. I talk about this in one of my videos, 7 reasons why you think your mediumship's getting worse, or something like that. That's close to the title. But is my mediumship getting worse? 7 pointers. And actually, your mediumship is forever changing. If you don't accept it forever changes, what happens is that you start to go backwards because you think it should always work the way it worked. When we first start out, we get very strong feelings, very strong images. And what's happening is it takes a lot of energy for spirit to project this to us, for us to receive it. And then as we learn to become more efficient as mediums, we only get a fleeting glimpse or a fleeting feeling. And we have to learn to work with that. But what it means is you'll work for a lot longer. The power will last a lot longer. It's called the conservation of energy, conservation of power. Each medium has a set amount of power. If you want to work for longer, we've got to make that power last longer. Therefore, how you receive information is not quite so intense. Like, oh my God, I feel like I'm having a heart attack is the beginning. And then later on, it's like, oh, I'm just feeling something to do with the heart. And it's to basically just turn the volume dial from 10 down to 2. And it uses a lot less power and you learn to work with it. Similarly with imagery. You know, first of all, you're getting this really strong image and then you're just getting this glimpse in your mind. And it maybe they might work with like a photo fit image. They might even just show you a blankish face, but a bald head and lots of bushy hair on the side. So I'm aware this man had a bald head and lots of bushy hair, but I didn't see anything else. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter you didn't see anything else because that's what they want to get across to you. They're minimizing the information you need rather than you getting a strong image and trying to describe every bit of that aspect in detail. Like as when we first start working, we see an image of a person and we spend the first 5 minutes trying to describe the image and nothing else comes and we're just stuck on that image. It's too much. Hopefully that makes sense. I hope that follows. So sometimes we see, if you start mainly with sensing, then I think you move on more to imagery next. If you start mainly with imagery, you move on to sensing next. If you start mainly as auditory, then you may get a bit of everything coming in eventually, or you may not. But often people are sensing or seeing, but saying up there, it's like spirit are telling me this, it's their own mind, if you like. Their own mind feels heart. So it says the word heart comes in their mind. Oh, I've got the word heart. But actually, no, your mind creates it. It's not really from the spirit world. It's just that's your modality you're used to working with the auditory modality. I hope that will make sense. If not, if it doesn't make much sense, I cover it with my videos. I cover it in Mechanics of Mediumship Class 4 study program. It's covered within Module 2, the Mechanics of Mediumship, and courses. I cover that off in the Fundamentals of Mediumship and drill much deeper into how clairs progress in getting better evidence. So it's in both of those as well, if that interests you. Actually, speaking of that, someone asked a question, what's the difference between a study program and all the courses? Simple answer, study program was developed first based upon my videos. So the study program takes the videos and works with them and adds tutorials to them, goes through everything in a very structured way. And then ultimately the courses take different aspects and dive deeper. So you probably get a very similar level of content if you were to buy the Fundamentals of Mediumship, getting better evidence, meditation and sitting, and better private readings and better platform mediumship, that would cover pretty much the same content as what you'd get with modules 1 to 3. However, things like better private readings, better platform mediumship, and get better evidence, those courses have more detail in than the other classes. If you like, I used the opportunity with these courses to really drill deep into some of those topics. So fundamentals of mediumship is pretty much the same. It's the mechanics, it's the meditation again. I drill a bit deeper at that as well. So the courses generally drill deeper. For example, there's a video on spiritual self-development, but the spiritual self-development is 4 2-hour sessions plus exercises. So again, it just drills a lot deeper. So the courses generally, I'd say, would probably be a better starting point for many people to get the most depth in a cost-effective way. But if you want to get my certificate of completion for the study program is probably the best way of doing that. Hopefully that makes a bit of sense. I hope so anyway. It's just the nature of how it progressed. CB, good evening, Martin. Can you explain the role of a healing guide within a healing session? So again, there's different opinions on this. And I'm a big fan of Harry Edwards, who I believe is the guru when it comes to teaching healing. For me, I'm very much, I go along with pretty much all of his teachings. So what I'm teaching is probably the Harry Edwards thought school of healing. So we all have healing guides who work with us. Do we have one healing guide? My belief, no. What we should be doing when we're doing healing is we should be asking spirit. We should attune to the spirit world, asking spirit healing guides, spirit doctors, call them what you will, to work with us, work through us to help the patient. Because think about it. If you only had one healing guide, that healing guide's going to have a hell of a lot of knowledge to be able to heal a huge variety of conditions. But maybe each person in the spirit world, like a doctor, has their own specialisms. So today I'm giving healing to a person who's got a problem with the bone, a problem with arthritis. So someone with that healing speciality comes from spirit to work through. Next day I'm giving healing to someone who's got some emotional, mental issues, and someone is better able to work with that comes through. And so we're seeking to get somebody from the spirit world who's a better fit. Harry Edwards' view was that we should tune to spirit and allow whoever wishes to come forward to work with us and ask for the best. Ask for the best person for the patient. You may know with Harry Edwards, he did healing in front of huge audiences, 10,000 people. He would do healing demonstrations, and they would send up the people who had the most obvious things wrong with them, people who couldn't walk properly, people who had some clear physical disability that we could see a result. And Harry Edwards always asked for the right spirit healers to come forward and channel and work through him. He never asked for anyone specifically. And that's the way I believe it should be. So with the healing, we have multiple healing guides. So I don't believe my healing guide to be person X and I attune to person X. I attune to the level of the healing guides to do my healing. I move my mind to spirit. I move to that place where I'm accessible to those spirit guides as a channel, so they can channel healing through me. They can blend with me, channel healing through me. And that's what we want. We want to be the best possible healer. I believe a lot of healers limit themselves. They work in just like one way where they're bringing one type of limited healing energy because their concepts, they don't understand these concepts, and they don't allow themselves to be used, and also sometimes when we're doing the healing, the level we're at in the state of our altered state, we have to change that depending upon the healing that takes place. So I do have 2 videos on this. I have special topic 2 on spiritual healing, which is kind of the big overview of healing. And then I have special topic 8, trance healing, which is where we're using the altered state to get more powerful healing. And we're seeking to work at the right level. So in a healing session, what may happen is we may start by giving a general energy to relax the patient, which is at a much lighter level. Then we may deepen the level of attunement that we're at, so that guide can come close to us to bring through a powerful healing energy that's needed by the patient. And then we may move to another level to work on another aspect of a problem. So maybe working at 3 different levels during a healing session. And that's what I talk about in great detail in that session, in that video. That is also covered. Those videos are part of my special module on healing, inspiration, and trance within the study program as well. But a lot of healers just start, if you like, at the general healing level, and they just stay there and they do what they've always done, and it can be limiting. Why do some healers get amazing results and others don't? And that's the reason. So to be a good healer, we want to learn to be of best use to the spirit world, for spirit to be able to do what they need to do the most. So that's, if you like, hands-on healing, close to body healing, contact healing. Then we move our minds to absent healing, where healing is for somebody who's not physically with us. And that is about attuning to the guides and helpers in the spirit world and asking them to arrange the healing for them, to healing to be given to person X. We make the request and then we let go. Spirit take care of the rest. Will it be that one guide who then goes and puts their hands upon them and gives them healing? Not necessarily. They will be able to work with that team in the spirit world for the right person, the right job, to go along and do whatever needs to be done. We make the request. I don't give the healing. I don't think, where's this person in the world? They're over there. Let me get my compass out. Okay, they're over there. Now I'm going to sending out healing over there to them, and I'm the one sending the healing. No, the healing comes from the spirit world. We make the request. In Harry Edwards' terms, we petition the spirit for healing to be sent to person X, and then we let it go, and we let it happen, and we know and we trust that healing will be given. I hope that makes sense. So that's my view of healing. Rose, thank you. You're very welcome. Bad Mojo, hi Martin, love your information and teaching style. Do you run a teaching practice circle? I don't run a circle as such, but what I'm going to be doing later in the year is offering some practice classes. I'm going to be offering primarily some ones for platform to begin with. I'm also trying to put together at the moment a mentorship type, progressive type mediumship course, which will be aimed at intermediate to advanced level. It's going to include platform work. It's going to include having to do demonstrations. It's going to include sittings, where you also do sittings with a client and record them, and I will review them, that kind of thing. So it is aimed at people who are looking to work as mediums or already started that journey of working as a medium. It's going to be pretty much a higher level. I don't generally tend to teach beginners. I feel my skills are much more geared towards helping people who are some way down the line at the intermediate onwards. That's where I feel that my skills are better applied. So that's basically work in progress in the pipeline. It will be announced on my Facebook page and my newsletter. If you want to subscribe to my newsletter, there is a link as well in the description of every video of mine. You can subscribe there. And obviously it will be on a first come, first served. I don't expect there'll be a huge number of places on each session. And then I also want to start doing a few themed courses. Like, for example, in my Getting Better Evidence course, I talk about the different styles of working and how we may ask spirit for information versus we surrender to get it. So what I'd like to do with that is to take the concepts and use some exercises to work with them, so we can use a course where we actually try different ways and we get people working with them. So I'd like to generate some teaching courses that actually fit my courses that I've done. And with those, I'll probably give priority to those who've done the course or have bought the course, because obviously the theory goes hand in hand with it. And so I may give some of the things I may give, may be a requirement that people have already purchased something to be able to do the course. That's still work in progress within my mind. At some point I will settle it. But again, it's better that people, if they're going to do some, say, platform work with me, it's better they understand how I teach. It's better they understand my theory. So for example, if they purchased Better Platform Mediumship and understand how I teach platform mediumship, there's going to be less surprises and they're more likely to work the way I would expect, versus someone who works in a completely crazy way and we're having to stop, deconstruct and try and rebuild them from scratch, which is a lot of hard work. A lot of hard work. So that's the idea. But yes, so I will be offering some practice opportunities over the course of this year as well. Bad Merger, thanks Martin, you're very welcome. CB, thank you. I'll definitely look into your videos. I've already purchased several courses and would recommend them all. I'm so glad you enjoyed them. And if anyone wants to provide any feedback to me on the courses, you can do that. You can send it messages, do that through Facebook Messenger, or you can do that by sending me through my contact form. Any feedback is always gratefully appreciated. So if it helps other people make a decision about buying, it's always greatly appreciated. So have we come to the end of questions? Is that all the questions we have for today? We've had some great questions today, so thanks to everyone who's asked questions. I hope I've answered them to the level you wanted me to. Sometimes it's not always easy to give an answer to some questions because there's a depth to them. I could probably talk about them for a long time. As many of you know, you've seen a lot of the videos on the channel. I often try and keep the video to 5 or 10 minutes and it goes longer. Once I start thinking about all the things I want to cover, the videos go longer. It's not a problem to keep talking sometimes. So yeah, so if you're not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe and you get notification of all these live Q&As. Also, if you want to be notified by email, then you can subscribe to my mailing list. And I send out at least the day before to let you know when there's a live Q&A. Also, if you're subscribed to the channel, you may get a message as well through Facebook. I know Facebook definitely tells when I'm going live. I'm not sure they necessarily always tell you when there's a live stream coming up. I still haven't figured out if it does that or not. But thanks for everyone for coming along tonight. Thanks for all those who've asked questions. And if you're watching this on the replay, thanks for watching on the replay too. So I'm going to park the class there. So thank you, everybody. Take care. Look after yourselves. And I'll see you all again in the next one. Bye for now.